Hello, everybody. Welcome back to I Create For You. We're going to do another Lighthouse Ghosts and Legends story. The book is written by Nina Kostopoulos, and we're at this one. This is the lighthouse, and it's New London Ledge Light, New London, Connecticut, and it's called The Light, the Keeper, His Wife, and Her Lover. Holy moly. Okay. I actually looked it up because I wanted to see if I could find anything on here. When you hear me read the story, in this story they named the ghost Ernie, but they don't give the light keeper and his wife names, ages, or anything like that. And so I'm going by what is in the story then. And I wanted to show you a picture that I printed off just to show you how isolated this was and why maybe the wife felt the way she did about where she was, and then later her husband, because then he was all by himself there. But look at how isolated that lighthouse was. I mean, here's land up here, but that's gotta be, I don't know if I could do it. I mean, if you're a loner and you really don't want to be socializing with people, maybe. But if you're trying to raise a family, and I can't see, you don't even have a yard. You have nothing. I mean, like, nothing. Anyway, nothing but emptiness, and you're it's like you're out there, and any kind of weather you're just going to be a victim to. Anyway, most of the lighthouses, I've never even known a lighthouse to be out in the middle of the water. But hey, all right, I guess whatever floats your boat. Sorry about that. Anyway, the light, the keeper, his wife, and her lover. What could be more chilling than a haunted mansion floating above a reckless sea? Huh. Here at the entrance to New London Harbor sits a grand 3-story lighthouse in the French Second Empire style. With 11 rooms, the house exhibits the grace, sophistication, and opulence of homes along the Connecticut coast. This was by design. Wealthy homeowners on the coast demanded that the building blend in with its surroundings. What surroundings? All I see is water. Anyway, constructed at the start of the 20th century of red brick and granite with a mansard roof, New London Ledge was a jewel among lighthouses, one of few not built of cast iron. Any keeper would have been proud to call it home. Lit in 1909, the New London Ledge Light was one of the last lighthouses built in New England. Its sister light, the New London Harbor Light, had been one of the first. Lit in 1760, the New London Harbor Light had begun as one of only 3 lights illuminating the coastline in colonial America. Its 90-foot tower was designed to warn sailors away from rocky shoals in the harbor. Yet, tragically, sailing vessels continued to wreck against the jagged shoals at the mouth of the Thames River. The lights simply didn't reach that far. For many years, sailors complained of this dark and treacherous stretch, but it wasn't until 1890, nearly a century and a half later, that statesmen began lobbying for an additional lighthouse. Then, it was another 19 years before the New London Ledge Light was built, and for the astronomical sum of $93,968. Built by New London Hamilton R. Douglas Company, the Ledge Light was truly an island unto itself. A timber crib had been towed 12 miles upstream, sunk on top a 20-foot long shoal, and filled with concrete. An 18-foot tall pier had been constructed on the top of this foundation, and the house in turn had been constructed on the pier. From a distance, the structure seemed to be float among the waves. For lighthouse keepers and their families, life was a lonely and isolated existence in the middle of the ocean. Thick fog slides through the harbor and eerily wraps around the dwelling. Loud, swelling waves crash against the base of the lighthouse, and the only way in or out of the lighthouse for keepers and their families was by boat. The conditions left little to be desired, especially during inclement weather. The threat of flooding winds and rain instilled fear in any keeper who lived through a massive storm, just like I was thinking. Especially difficult were times when harsh winter storms would blow in for days. As long as the storm persisted, keepers and their families were forced to remain indoors, and the lighthouse became a place of insufferable confinement. One hurricane, which occurred in 1938, created waves so fierce they were as high as the second-story windows. Holy crap! Keepers and their families were forced to watch the rough waters slam against their home and could only hope the windows wouldn't break before the storm subsided. Even when days were pleasant, those who tended the lighthouse were housebound unless they took leave and went inland. Getting outdoors for a walk was confined to small strolls around the deck. The isolation was enough to drive the average person out of his mind. In 1936, a young man moved in to tend the lighthouse. Day in, day out, the new keeper worked hard to keep the lighthouse in perfect working order. He swabbed the decks, polished the brass, cleaned the stately building, and tended the light. However, content the new keeper was, this was not the life of his young bride had dreamed of. She lived alone in the town, kept away from her husband for days, sometimes weeks on end. Eventually, the monotony and seclusion began to torment the young bride, but the keeper was loyal to his job. He didn't want to resign. Inevitably, the young wife began to resent her husband and her life of isolation. Seeking companionship, she ran off to seek a more adventurous life with the captain of the Block Island ferry. From then on, her husband felt firsthand the isolation of which she'd so often spoken. Shortly after his wife's departure, the keeper was found dead of an apparent suicide. Some believed that he had jumped from the catwalk surrounding the lantern gallery. Others said that he had been so distraught by his misfortune that he lost his concentration and fell. All agreed that his pretty young wife had led to his ruin. Today his ghost, who comes to be known as Ernie, haunts the New London Ledge light. One keeper claimed that Ernie called out his name as he descended a ladder. Others have spotted his likeness at the top of the stairs. In some ways, Ernie seems to be tending to the only thing in life that never disappointed him, his faithful mansion light. On good days, he has been known to polish brass, swab the decks. In other ways, he seems as distraught as he must have been on the night he died. Bad days find him leaving tools laying about, setting boats adrift, turning televisions and foghorns on and off, opening and closing doors, and rearranging books on shelves. In 1939, the United States Coast Guard assumed control of the lighthouse. Its crews tended the light until 1987, when it became automated. The day before automation, a Coast Guardsman summed up his opinion of the ledge light in the keeper's log. Rock of slow torture, Ernie's domain. Hell on earth? May New London Ledge's light shine on forever, because I'm through. I will watch it from afar while drinking a brew. Clearly not everyone can cope with the isolation of the New London Ledge light. But even in death, Ernie remains loyal to the post he did not want to resign. The New London Light Ledge is located at the mouth of the Thames River and is accessible only by boat. So they have on here information on how to get to that place. It says you can make reservations, and cruises and walking tours are available. Huh. Oh my goodness. But man, I feel bad for this guy. I mean, they named him Ernie. This is the catwalk right here that he supposedly fell from, jumped off of, however it happened. But anywho, I cannot, like this poor guy. So he's doing something that he thinks is awesome. He wants to do it, but he has to do it alone because his companion can't stand the isolation, and then he realizes the isolation after she's gone, and then that's what did him in, and now he's there still on that deserted, drifting hell. Wow. Okay, so they're saying that he was spotted on the top of the stairs, so I'm going to try to make a stairway look like I did before, but man, I'm just having a hard time understanding how. I mean, like, I wonder what kind of benefits these people have. I mean, I know they get a home to live on and whatnot, but I'm not understanding. I mean, you have to get your meals sent to you, brought over, and you have no communication with anybody else, just maybe by radio or whatever, or the only way you can actually get some kind of reprieve from that monotonous lifestyle is by taking a dinghy to the mainland. I can't understand the lifestyle. It really has to be someone who you would almost, I don't know. I've never had any thoughts of lighthouse keepers and things like this, so this whole book is really like a learning lesson for me, because it's I just can't believe that people chose to live that lifestyle, and it didn't seem to be a very healthy one. It's horrible the way they had to, their job was to tend the light, but I mean, it's like, that's got to drive you insane after a while. It just really has to, because you don't have any other contact with people. I don't know. The only people you have contact with are the ones that are living there with you, and I bet, and they're the same mind frame as you. They need out, so it's probably a lot of tension, a lot of regret, resentment, like she had, like his wife had. It's just, I mean, to know, to think, oh, I'm marrying this person, and I'm going to have, something's wrong here with these steps. I'm busy yapping, and I'm not paying attention to how I'm making these steps, so I apologize. But yeah, like you marrying somebody, and it's for better or worse, but man, you can't really expect someone to be tolerant of that after a while when you don't see that person for a while, or that's the only person you see and you don't see the rest of your family, like your parents or your siblings, or and I'm pretty sure they didn't all come out there to visit, because I haven't heard that in any of these so far, that they had visitors, so except for people who might be bringing them food or other supplies. It's just a strange setup to me. Okay, so that's the best I can do for a staircase. And this all is going up, turning this way for the railing. And we're going to make him at the top of the steps. Now, I'm just going to make him a figure. They don't say anything more about it, except that he was seen at the top of the stairs. So I'm just going to make him a shadowy figure, because that's what my idea of apparitions are. Just glimpses and shadows and outlines. That's just my interpretation of them. I mean, everybody has their own ideas of what. Let me see if I can make this look a little spookier. Yeah, that works. And I'll bring it out around a little bit. Look at that. I'll have to bring it up to you and show you what this does. Finally got out my blender. Works wonders. I'm going to show you this. If you can see that around the outside of him, how it pushed his being out around like a little halo. I'm going to make it a little bit, add a little more so that I can push more out there. So it's a little bit more pronounced. Especially along here, it's not. I am no professional artist in any way, and I'm pretty sure if there is someone watching this, they're probably going, oh my god, that is not how you use a blendy tool. Well, it's how I use the blendy tool, and it works just fine for me. It's better than my finger that I had been using lately. I also got this thingy. Let me show you too. Like if I'm drawing. Jesus. Put it on wrong. Why don't I? Okay. So I put it on like this, so that when I'm doing this, I don't pick it up and smoosh it all over. And that's what that's for. But I usually use my finger to make stuff shimmery and ghost-like. Since this is a ghostly ghost story, we gotta do this. Make everything ghosty. So some of my drawings are not very good. I'm not saying this one's a keeper, but my husband thinks I should have kept all of my sketches and just kept them in a book and saved them. And I'm like, for who, what? Because some of these are just not grade A material. So which is just my opinions, my interpretations. I mean, Ernie, that is an R, not an A. There's Ernie, standing at the top of the lighthouse stairs. So, like I've been saying, and I'm pretty sure you guys have noticed it too, how these ghosts that I've been doing these stories on, even the ones of the ghost stories of Berks County, some of them physically do things. Like, he is forever doing his job. And if he has a bad day, he takes it out on everything. Rearranging books in a bookcase, leaving tools out, all that other stuff. I mean, it's just like he's condemned to this lighthouse. And he's forever going to be there. Automation or not, he's going to be there. That's his prison. Oh, it's so horrible. I mean, something that he once loved is now he's a prisoner to, even in death. He may not seem to think so, or maybe he just doesn't realize, hey, buddy, you're not here anymore. And he's just day by day doing, repeating. Yeah. Makes you wonder if what you are doing at your moment in time with your death, if that's going to be your forever thing. Like if you had passed away in an accident suddenly, are you still along that road where that happened, in that area, because it happened so suddenly that it was like a shock to your soul? But anyway, there's Ernie, still living at the lighthouse, the very secluded lighthouse. Okay, we'll be doing another one tomorrow and Friday. And then I don't think I'm going to do any on the weekend. I'm not sure yet. Maybe not. But I'm also going to try to do some of my sketches. I got the Tooth Fairy to do, and of course the blueprints, and my 200 daily prompt. And then it's a Cyborg, I think. So I'm going to get a few of those done too. Squeak them in here and there. But I had tons of laundry to do today, so I finally got to do it. Finally got in here to do this. So hopefully you liked it, and giving me a thumbs up, and comment if you'd like. Just say anything. Just say, hey, hello, how are you, where you're watching this from, or what you thought of the characters and what your opinions are on it. I sure like to see some. And subscribe if you haven't, because oh my gosh, we got tons of stories to go through. Even if you don't like my sketches, I just thought I'd add a little twist to ghost stories in my way. So yeah, hope to see you guys, all of you, and maybe some new you guys in the next one. Bye for now.